Hi, welcome to Clutter Bravado.
Yes, and it's the energy. It's not just about the stuff.
So we should probably just get into it, right?
Let's go.
Good morning, Laurent.
Good morning, Elise.
How are you?
Very well.
How was your birthday?
It was close to perfection. So on Saturday, I do a few things in the morning. On Saturday morning, I have a couple appointments that are standard that I kept, and then it was a completely relaxing
Yeah.
evening. We went to dinner at our favorite restaurant on Friday night.
Yeah, we went to Horses. It was
and
so
went to
fun.
Horses, which
Yeah.
I really like. I mean, there are a few restaurants that I really like in LA lately. Petit Trois being one of them, but Horses is up there. The food's really good.
The food's
Service
really
was
good.
great. It's a fun
And we
decor,
go there for the tiramisu.
and the
primarily.
tiramisu is fantastic. So, you know what? Shout out to Horses, and I'm glad to have a couple restaurants like that where, it feels good
Yeah.
to be there, and a little Frenchy too. So it's
A
like
little
it was,
French.
yeah,
Kind of. Is it
Kind
French
of.
there? It feels French
It
there.
feels French, and
get it.
there are a couple dishes that are close to So it was really fun to be there, and then Saturday was complete relax.
Yeah.
Like-
Just nothing. Just completely
Well,
decompress.
Yeah, and a little bit of meditation on 56 years on this planet. It's
56.
starting to count, and I had to do a little bit of contemplation, which was fun.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you made it this long. You're
Made it to
you're
56
a joy. You're a
entering-
joy to share the sofa with and to do the show with. So, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was fun. What about you?
So, well, first I want to address the elephant in the room. We're in a different space right now.
We are.
We are in a different room at the Kimberly Denman Showroom, and the reason for that is there is a strike going on outside that has been going on for 8 days now.
Not for Kimberly Denman.
Not for Kimberly Denman.
It's someone else.
It's someone across the street. It's an entirely different business. But they have been chanting every day for every business day,
Yeah.
8 days now.
And luckily they start at 9 a.m. So
Yeah, they start at 9, they end at 4.
Yeah.
It's a very, It's just
and they take a break for lunch.
They do.
They're very, very, very French, very civilized.
It's
those
very
people.
French.
Yeah.
It feels very French.
Feels very
the,
French
the
out there.
strike and
Yeah.
the strike itself.
The
Period.
strike,
Yeah.
feels like we're in Paris,
Yes, it does. It does.
except that they speak English. But
Yeah. And their chants are repetitive and they're in my head all the time. Because if I'm here doing work and I'm trying to you'll put on music so you kind of drowns it out. But anytime that I'm just sitting at the desk, just doing my work, I'm hearing their chants and it's just in here. And then I go home and I go to sleep and it's in there. But the reason why we're in here is so it's a little bit quieter in this room. And also I like the way it looks in here.
it's sitting on my favorite sofa, our gray sofa. I love this room.
I love this room.
It's
Yeah.
view of the backyard. It's my favorite room, I think.
I think this might be my favorite room in the showroom too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this sofa is it's a dream. This fabric is insane.
Yeah, and the sofa is definitely one of my favorite pieces in the line.
So it's a straight sofa. It's nice. It's kind of low, which I like. The back is
low,
kind
low,
of
it's-
low. It's loungy. It's deep enough so that you feel like you're really comfortable and you can sort of sink into it. But it's not so deep that it turns into a bed.
Right. And it has a lot of sculptural elements. The legs
Yeah.
on this one are made out of bronze, which I really
They're
like.
so pretty. They're so pretty. I like that detail because you have that on the Gratitude sofa as well, right?
The gratitude sofa in the other room, the
Yeah.
legs are wood.
Oh,
But,
they're wood in there.
yeah.
That's right. That's
But
right.
they are
Yeah.
same design, but I like the bronze.
The bronze.
Adds some warmth.
It's really special.
Yeah.
It's really special. And this just came back from, there was a designer who was,
Emma took it.
Using it, yeah, Emma
using it
DeRoche.
for- Took it for the window at
Modern Rugs LA, right?
Modern Rugs, yeah. And so she kept it for a bit, and that was great. She was very
But now it's
kind,
back and
but
we
now
get
it's
to
back.
sit on it.
So the room feels I mean, there's a lot going on here right
Yes.
now, but I love it.
Yes. But this is kind of nice. If you like this space better, by the way, let us know. Because if you like the way that it looks, obviously you have to look at it. So you have to go to our YouTube so that you can see it. But check it out. And if you like this space, maybe we'll move in here. What do you think?
I think we should.
Maybe?
Yeah, maybe we should.
At least for like the next couple of interviews, for sure.
Well, we're gonna have to because I think
the...
that this one over there is just like they're going to town.
I don't know how long the strike is going to go on, but I support them, and I hope that they get the contract that they're looking for. And in the meantime, I just one day it will be quiet here again. I think on a weekday when I'm editing.
We're listening to a lot of music.
Yes, that's true. It's nice.
Covering up the madness.
Do you have a favorite genre of music? Specifically, okay, let me detail that question a little bit, because I like listening to different kinds of music in different kinds of environments. But when you are like working or when you're entertaining, what are your favorite genres for those?
So cooking, it's 80s.
That's right. When
cooking,
you cook,
put Tears for Fears, Simple Mind, and I'm cooking.
Tears for Fears?
Tears for Fears.
Okay.
Favorite band. Shout out. Love them. And then it'll be like, Simple Minds, or, I have my favorites, and
okay.
I'm, Simply Red, my God, makes me cry every time Red? I'm cutting onions. Is it the onions or Simply Red?
It's probably Simply Red.
And so that's one thing. The dinner parties, it'll be, the typical, like, I'm still with the Hotel Coast kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. A little fun, a little jazzy.
Yeah.
Not too obtrusive.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, because of changes in my life, I have been listening to more meditative music when I work, which that's been really fun. Mm-hmm. I'll stop here.
Okay.
There are a couple cool other things that. Just kidding. Just don't.
What are you going into?
Forget it. Forget
it.
You know Cooking, what? Dinner parties.
Great. I don't want to.
Don't forget it. I didn't say anything. I didn't even mention it. So just.
I don't know what you're referring to. I don't want to.
Well.
What do you listen to when you work out?
That I go to a place where the coaches choose the music.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it goes from Miley Cyrus to Mexican pop.
Awesome.
With. Today was 90s
hip
hop,
nice,
which was
yeah,
really great.
Yeah.
So I like it all pretty much. I'm sorry, country. I can't.
Too French for country music.
Too French for country music.
Okay.
But otherwise,
I think I'm too French for country music.
Otherwise, I'm pretty.
No. Okay. I'm gonna say this. So I'm from Wisconsin. And Wisconsin, farmland, rural area, there is something that's very nostalgic for me about country music when I'm listening to it in the summertime. Country music doesn't make sense in the winter or any other season, but country music in the summertime, wearing cutoff shorts, riding around in a truck, that it feels right.
Wasn't there a TV show like that, Daisy Duke? Was it?
The Dukes of Hazzard.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
No.
That's it.
I don't know about all that, but.
All right.
But yeah, no, it feels right. I think on a hot day, I feel like country music makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, but
if you're from Wisconsin, because not if you're from the south of France.
What is the south of France? Is
Macarena.
Oh, that's right.
We have all the pop.
But like the early 2000s pop music.
Oh yeah.
Spectacular.
Wow. They still. I was there, and they still listen to music that I was listening to when I was a kid. Not Edith Piaf. I'm a little bit after. Huh? People are just.
Macarena though.
The Macarena,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. This is amazing. I need to go there. Okay. I actually have another question for you. And this is, you have been in the industry for a very long time, and you
don't have to
furniture.
point it out. You can say just a long time.
Oh, a very long time. And you make furniture.
I do.
So I have a question for you, and
Yes.
this is pertains to something personal for me. So everyone has been aware. I have a dog. I have a big dog. I have a 70-pound dog. He's just out of frame right now. I've been bringing him here because he likes to be with me, and you don't let him on any furniture, and I don't want him on any furniture because he's a big dog, and having a big dog on furniture just feels wrong to me. But I want to know what your opinion is on dogs on furniture.
Ooh, complicated answer, I think. Dogs that are over 50 pounds ish, I'm very against it.
Yeah.
Two reasons. I think that those dogs need to be trained. I think that a dog is a dog, and I love them as such. I don't think they're humans. Sorry for, and God knows I have had dogs, and everybody who knows me knows that I take care of, but I treat them as such. So dogs are not on the bed. Dogs are not on the furniture. Now there are a caveat to that. I think that if you have a country house or a vacation house and you want the dogs, you want it to be a free for all. I don't. I never. But there are now fabrics that are really nice, outdoor fabric that are really really nice. I mean that's changed. And if you want to upholster your furniture with that type of fabric, and it's a vacation house and the kids jump and they can sit down with their bathing suit and the dogs, yeah, why not? I think that in a residence, that your first house, depending on, I mean, the fabrics too. It's like some
Yeah.
of those fabrics that we use are expensive.
Yeah.
The sofa is a reasonably expensive fabric. I don't think that dog should be on it. I think that, and I don't think it's good for the dogs either. I mean, I think that it confuses them. I think that, they're part of a pack. There's a pack leader. The pack leader sits up and the dog is a little bit below.
Okay.
Now, if you have a teeny tiny dog that's so fucking cute and sits on your lap and you carry around like a purse,
For your birthday post, there's going to be a picture of you holding the tiniest dog that we are posting on Instagram.
So there you go. If I did have Laurent Dovey's dog,
Yes.
I think that dog would be, I would carry it like a purse and he would be on my lap all the time.
You would just have it all the time. I feel like you need a tiny little dog.
I think that's the last thing I need.
Oh, but
No,
like
but
a little
no,
companion?
no.
It would be so cute.
No, because I still no, and I do love big dogs, and for anybody who is like, oh yeah, he's trying to be macho, because no, it's not. I love big dogs. I love training them. I love being with a big dog. And I've never had a small dog, so maybe I would change my mind if I had a small dog. But that no one needs to have the idea to rescue a small dog and give it to me. Thank you very much. I'm not ready for it. Yeah, no, yeah. Don't even think about it.
No, I'm not. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to do that. I bring Dexter here so that you can hang out with somebody. You get some dog pics. Right. But so at my house.
Yeah.
Dexter sometimes sleeps in the bed. Now, the only reason why is because he's cuddly there. It's so nice to cuddle with a dog. And I don't want to lay on the floor, So, like, what am I going to cuddle with him? I cuddle with him when I'm sleeping, and it's so cute. Now, it does mean a lot of laundry for me because he's a big dog. But it's so cute.
So if there's any dog trainers that are listening to this podcast,
okay, but
please
also
DM Elise to explain to her that it's very hard to train your 75-pound dog when he sleeps on the bed, and thinks that he is the alpha.
Okay.
It makes it a little bit more complicated. That's all I'm saying. And you know what?
I need to cuddle with I need to cuddle at night. It's very important for me. And Dexter is really good at cuddling.
Boyfriends are for that.
I think we need to change the subject right now. Anyway, so moving on, we should probably get to our guest. Our guest today is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. I love her so much from the depths of my, she's amazing. She's so talented. She's so cool. She's so funny. She's also she's done yoga with me before. She took my yoga class. It was awesome. And I like that she is an incredibly smart and resourceful and innovative in the way that she approaches design. And she's really a solid member of a community. And I really appreciate that about her. She's worked in North Carolina and in New York and in LA. And she's out here in LA now. And I just adore her. A young designer, Alexandra Peck. You introduced me to her. How did you meet?
We met through a party that Joby Quintus invited her here, and we clicked. We got along.
She's so rad. I like her so much.
She's really fun, and she's really smart. Great at dinner parties. She's just So we became friends, and then you met her, and you became friends, and and I think that she does some really good work, and she's excited, and I love it.
Yeah,
she's great. She's reasonably new to LA, and she loves Southern California. So we're supporting our Southern California community.
Yeah. So we should probably get to it, huh?
Let's go.
Welcome to Clutter Bravado. We are here with Alexandra Peck, my dear friend, my beautiful angel friend. One of the first designers that I met when I met you also.
Yeah.
I think it may have been at that first party the first time that I saw you. Yeah.
Remember Christmas?
Something like that.
And we had met the Christmas before, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I remember,
It's
though.
been 2 years.
You still had your long hair.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah. So you just came back from a pretty hefty trip.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Did you go to High Point?
I was in High Point.
In North Carolina. So
How
tell
was
me
that?
about that. You're from North Carolina, too.
I grew up in North Carolina.
Okay.
Not from, but yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
High Point was actually amazing. Okay, funny story. I actually worked High Point once at the very beginning of my career.
Really?
Right out of school. I knew I wanted to move up to New York, and because I don't know if you know this, but I went to University of Georgia.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, I could get a great job, well-paying job right out of school in Atlanta, but I didn't want to stay there. And anyway, so I had my heart set on New York, and it was tough to get a job, especially because, look, I love New Yorkers so much. I identify as a New Yorker, but people are a little snooty there. And
it's a little different than Los Angeles, you could say. Maybe the
Or
culture.
a little.
Or the South, where everybody's
the
like,
South,
I
yeah.
know.
Exactly. Yes. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, it was hard to break into the scene, and I got connected with a lighting and furniture showroom. They were looking for someone to come in and do sales, which is not what I wanted to do, but it got me to New York. And so actually I worked market I moved up in the summer, so I worked market in October.
Okay.
It was awful.
Oh, really?
Miserable. It is so not fun on the vendor side.
Okay.
You're just standing there all day and you're like, can I scan your badge? Can I scan your badge? And people are like, leave me alone. I just want to look at your things and get out of here.
Yeah.
And you're inside all day and it's on your feet all day. Anyway, the best part is at the end when all the vendors close down and they have their parties. That was fun. But anyway, so this was so cool going back, a little bit over 10 years later on the buyer side.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. Guys, there's 11 million square feet of showroom space.
No way.
It's wild. It's
Wow.
wild. Now, look,
Okay.
you don't need to see everything, right?
Yeah,
but,
no, naturally. There's no way.
No, you couldn't see everything, but
Yeah.
also, you do not need to see everything.
Exactly.
But it was amazing. I went there. I just wanted to see what was new, and I don't like doing cookie cutter stuff. I just can't do it. We've all done it, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to make things really special that are specifically tailored to my clients and their unique, amazing personalities. I don't want to be buying from big box things. So that's why I went. And then, of course, we know about the tariffs, right? So, all these big box places, things are being made in China. They're being made whatever. That wasn't going to fly, right? So I went with the intention of, okay, what is made in the U.S.? And North Carolina has a huge
Right.
production in Western North Carolina, and it's great. You know, those people are real makers.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my favorites that I got to visit was Thayer Coggin.
Okay.
Who you might not be familiar with him.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
So he partnered with Mila Bogman back in the day. Mila Bogman's this like amazing architect turned mid-century modern furniture maker, and he's just got the most amazing stuff. Yeah, a lot of contemporary designers reference pieces from him. I did a lot at SoHo House as well.
Oh, okay.
So it was awesome. That was
Did
such
you
a
go to the
treat.
factory?
Went to their factory.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
It's like just outside of downtown High Point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an institution.
It was awesome. It was really, really cool. There's actually a really fun video of me. They had like, it was kind of an Austin Powers moment. They had a circular, big ottoman and it swivels like all the way. And so someone was like, yeah, get on there. And I was like, boop. And I hopped on and I got this little video of me like,
I love it.
and what's funny too is that day I was wearing like my Victoria Ratliff dress, essentially, like not planned, but it was hot in North Carolina, and this was end of April. Like, thank God it wasn't midsummer. So I was just wearing like a t-shirt dress, you know, something like breathable, and I definitely looked like a nod back to my old sorority days, and I just was like, this is giving White Lotus right now. So anyway, it was pretty ridiculous. So anyway, High Point was amazing. I discovered so many new makers. And the other thing that was really cool, and I'm super into this and I'm going to start implementing it, is like all these little branded products that you can, you know, people make like candles, for example.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can have your logo or whatever you want stamped into it. And I'm a candle whore. I don't know if I'm allowed to use that word, but like I like don't allow myself to buy candles anymore because I have so many. But I did buy a new one.
Nice.
So this company, they're based in Bozeman, Montana, and man, I gotta introduce you guys to this brand.
Oh, yeah. Because
So unique.
We're not
so
supposed
unique.
to talk about that part.
What?
That we might be
Oh.
doing. There's some.
Am I hearing
there's
something new?
There's some Clutter Bravado news that we haven't announced yet, but I
Okay.
love that you're talking about this right now because it's like, oh, this is a perfect little Easter egg for what is to come.
I'm really excited
Anyway.
about that. And I will be getting whatever you're having.
Yes.
Every colorway, every scent, every whatever.
that is so amazing, though.
Yeah.
In Montana.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I met the guy, true cowboy. It's earthenware on the
Oh
outside.
wow. Oh, that sounds.
It
really
wasn't
nice.
inexpensive, but I'm like, she's worth it.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah.
he's worth it. The scent is called Baron, but
Ooh.
not like a barren desert, like
Yeah.
the Baron.
The Baron.
It was intoxicating. So I was in the Varellin showroom, which is not a showroom I was familiar with before. You guys have to look them up.
Okay.
Stunning stuff. And actually, gosh, talk about like, I was so inspired. Every showroom, actually, it was like almost exhausting because every place I would walk into, I'm like, I'm immediately picturing a space.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. Like Varellin, I was just like Montana vibes completely. Like, even though they're not a Montana company, but just, they had this beautiful aubergine palette. It was all very earthy and neutral. And I have a friend who is in Montana, and I just was like, this is her. And I just want to design a house for them.
I love that. Wait, so I want to
Yes,
pause there for
sorry.
a second. No, it's great.
I'm very excited.
You're amazing. So when you get hits of inspiration like that, and you're walking through High Point, are you taking notes? Like
Pictures.
Pictures.
Oh my God.
It
was, this was the thing that I need a new iPhone.
Yeah.
It's like I don't need it, but like,
Yeah.
I have an exorbitant amount of pictures and videos on my phone. I'm constantly taking pictures. And it's funny, I had a conversation with a photographer once where he was like, oh, if you're taking a picture, you're not really in the moment. And I'm like, I respectfully disagree. Like, I understand your position. But for me, actually capturing the photo, I don't know, it makes me like just capture this moment in time, and I remember every picture that I take.
Yeah.
So I will go back and I'm like, yes, I remember
Right.
that, and I go reference it. And it's the only way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only way. Like, of course, I followed all of them on Instagram and everything, but you know, especially when you're going to any of these events, you know, they've curated vignette so beautifully, and so you might not be able to see it somewhere else on their website or Instagram.
Yeah.
So
And it's not the same. I mean,
Right.
We talk about it all the time here. It's like when you're seeing something and you're touching it, it's then you remember it, then you understand it, and and then photos are a great source of inspiration for.
Yeah, well, it's like a catalog, right?
And to allow a photo to be your reference point for that thing and having experienced it.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking at a catalog full of photos,
Oh,
you're not gonna get the
I
vibe.
do not
Yeah.
connect with catalogs.
Yes, totally.
I am actually like, I have so many, so many companies that reach out and they're like, can we send samples? Can we send this? And I was like, no. Like, I respect that you have a catalog. I'm, great for you, but like, I just don't like all the paper.
Yeah.
And I just don't even really open them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be better about magazines because I feel a little bit differently about magazines.
Yeah.
But even those, it's just hard. I have a never-ending stack that just piles up, and my aspiration is to read through them, and then I just don't.
Yeah. And also when you are buying for a client or when you're putting together your ideas, sometimes you can have, something that you can flip through. Obviously, like a lot of people are using Pinterest and using things online, but you have to go to a showroom. You have to go talk to to a maker, going to a factory, touching the fabric, touching the furniture, sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
We talk about that all the time on this podcast and how important that is. Yeah. But I do like that you're able to have that experience and then you use your photo as like, oh, that's right. I remember how that feels. Because I've had a lot of experiences go into a showroom and I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot what that chair looks like, but I loved how it felt.
Right.
Like,
and I do that too. Sometimes you didn't get the picture. You're like, damn it, I remember that it was there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not in my, it's not my thing, but so that's how, and then, also like, okay, I noticed a lot of people had really good florals. And I was like, I love these florals.
Ooh,
and then it's inspiration for me with my photo shoots.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yes, I'm capturing the vignette, but I'm also capturing a specific little composition or something, right? I'm inspired by everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really cool.
How long did you spend?
Go ahead.
Oh, so I got in. So my parents are in North Carolina, actually. So it was so good to be able to see them, and I flew into Raleigh, and then I drove my parents' car out super early in the morning. But it was great. I had a blast.
Yeah.
There was like no traffic, which
Nice.
obviously is different than LA.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, the radio station was. It slapped. There was this, guys, honestly, for real, I was driving, which, you're not supposed to text and drive. But I was like, what is this DJ? And I was like trying to Google it. And then at one point they said the DJ's name. So I put it down in my notes and I was like, I want to message that DJ and say thank you because
Oh, wow.
it was like an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
But it was, smooth sailing and it was like they were remixing all these old like 90s and 2000s. And I just had a great time. Anyway, so I got in early on Friday morning.
Uh-huh.
I actually had I had signed up for 2 whole day tours, which was great because again, even though I've been there once before, I was a total fish out of water.
Yeah.
And this place is overwhelming as can be. So I had a whole day tour Friday and a whole day tour Saturday, and they were amazing. Thank God. Because it would have been too much. And I also got to meet these amazing designers. That was the other perk too. Like now I have all these friends that are all over the country, and I just spoke with 2 of them over the weekend. Actually 3 of them. Yeah. Just kind of catching up and like what's going on with their business, and do you have an idea about this or so this like network of people was so unexpected. And then Sunday I kind of bopped around a little bit, and then Monday I was like,
Done.
It is so hard to be
It's
like,
the
I'm a
hard
people person, right?
Yeah.
But like you have to be so on, and again it's like that visual stimulation.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even planning really. I had bought a couple of things, mostly for myself, because treat yourself, and I might love it for a little bit and then sell it to a client.
Right.
I don't
There you
know
go, yeah.
if it works. But and then I kind of got roped into a few like more vintagey things because I didn't
Okay.
really get to touch on that. So then I did a half a day, and then I was like, I'm complete.
Yeah. Yeah. So you are one of the more social people. Like we've been to a lot of events together.
Yeah.
I see you at every event that I go to. Your social calendar when it comes to the design industry in Los Angeles is stacked all the time.
Yeah.
You know everybody.
Yeah.
And you also know everybody, the 2 of you, very much so. But you've been on the scene for a shorter time than 30 years.
Yes.
So like being sort of like not a new designer, but a young designer.
Yeah.
How does the social and networking aspect of that, like how has that really supported your career so far?
Immensely.
Yeah.
Immensely. When I was in New York and I was, working in all these different amazing firms, like we've discussed, you need to go and you need to experience the products and learn the stories and whatnot. That's what makes everything more important, more interesting. And, along the way, the other people are there, right? And it's just so nice to have that community because we have our own language, all of us right here. And people outside of this industry just don't get it. And hey, fair enough. I don't understand most people's jobs.
I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, where sometimes when one of my friends describes what they do, I'm like, but what do you do?
I don't. Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do?
And you can't keep asking. Like, at a certain point, you're like, oh, okay. That's so awesome.
I have no idea what that is. Does this involve a spreadsheet? I have no idea what you do. Yeah. But in this industry, it does, like, we are all speaking the same language.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So that and we have right, we all have different backgrounds and everything, which is what makes everybody interesting. But like, yes, it's very special. And anyway, so I would go out also when I was, fresh out of school. I had no money, so I was going to these events and like eating for free and drinking more than I should have.
I love it.
I didn't mean to, but they would all just keep on pouring.
Yeah.
So thankfully I've learned how to say, no, thank you, I'm good. I'm just gonna have some sparkling water, maybe like one rosé. So it was just fun, that was like what I would do to go out. And also, like new to the city and, I didn't know anybody. Anyway, so kind of the same thing here. After being in New York for 10 years, I just kind of felt ready for the next thing. And it is hard to leave, not like it's hard to leave New York, but after you leave New York, where do you go?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the South, and I actually think the South is, especially nowadays, it's booming. Even where I grew up, so many people are moving to Raleigh, which like I love going there. I love spending time with my family, but I don't want to live there. No knocks to it. It's just like I'm from there. Like I grew up there. I need a little bit more.
Yeah.
So my background, we have French heritage, and my whole family, we speak French, not totally fluently, but it's a fun thing we like doing. And I love it so much. And I've always wanted to live in Paris, or like I remember when I was younger, I wanted to have a house in the south of France. So I've always been very drawn. I love the history and the architecture of Europe in general. Plus, not to mention, you can bounce around so easily and just my heart's there. And you guys know that I lived overseas as a kid too. So anyway, so it was either going to be Europe or California. And at the time that I was moving, it was still COVID. And, the whole thing with like the curfews and everything, my friends that were in Paris, I was like, okay, we're not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, I have my own business, right? And it's hard to get a visa there.
It is. Yeah.
So I don't even know I just was like, okay, we're not going to do that yet. We're not ready yet.
Yeah, you have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So California it was, and I have some family up in Santa Cruz area, so I went up there and I thought, okay, this is really beautiful, but it's kind of sleepy.
That's really sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not at that stage. Definitely not at that stage. I'm still very ready to go. And then I went down to San Diego. I was visiting a friend in San Diego, and it's beautiful there, but it's a little bit too laid back, I think. I think some, I know that there are some designers there, some design firms, they do really well. Obviously, we know like Alicia Keys and Swiss Beast House. In La Jolla, like amazing project.
Yeah.
But I just thought, okay, that's going to be a little harder business-wise. And then I came here, and I had like one friend here, and as I was driving around, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Right? And it took me a while to even really, LA, it's a big place. It's funny because it's a big little town, right? But it's so spread out, and it took me like about a year to just even get the lay of the land, and to kind of get myself sorted. I finally I was like in between apartments for a little bit, and I got settled in my place, and then I went to the PDC, and holy moly, I think I think I've heard you talking, or we've talked about it. Like,
Yeah.
the PDC is, love it so much.
Yeah.
But it is very intimidating
Yes.
as a person who's not familiar with it. It's quite a maze. And I went for the fall market, I think. And I remember just kind of being like, oh my gosh, everybody knows each other so well. And like, I'm totally this new fish out of water person. And I was a little intimidated to introduce myself. And then after that, I was like, well, this is ridiculous. So I just started going and getting more involved and just going up to people and introducing myself. And oh my gosh, everyone is so kind.
Yeah.
It's a different kindness. Like, New York's not really kind, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, when you know people, like, whatever, but they're not super welcoming there, you know? Here, totally opposite.
Yeah.
And I remember pretty early on meeting Joby. And Joby was so sweet, and he was like, oh, well, yeah, you know, we'd like love to invite you to kind of like our, I forget what he called, like next gen dinners or something, you know, for, you know, kind of fresh on the scene designers. And I was like, that would be amazing to meet people and to eat dinner. And shortly thereafter, he had invited me to Laurent's. And,
Oh, wow, yeah.
And, the rest is history, really,
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
But so, yes, I'm so thankful for everyone here. I really, you know, I have
You do a
so
lot
many
of
friends.
collaboration too.
Collaborations with, yes, but
yeah. Like with other designers or with architects, like you have, you know, some pretty solid relationships that you've built here. in that
Definitely.
time.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, with that, it's always like, how can I help and support, and like, where can I fill a void, you know, to kind of like make a project better.
Yeah.
I shot my apartment recently.
Yes. Yes.
And I featured some very beautiful pieces of someone special here. That were just incredible, and kind of turned the apartment into a showcase essentially. And I'm just so thankful for all of my friends in the industry who were like, yes, absolutely, that's so amazing, would love it. Like Thomas Hayes was another person who I absolutely adore. Actually, guys, I want to rewind for 1 second and give him a shout out for sure, because I have been obsessed with his work since New York. You know, early years. And then I moved out here, and again, like, this was still in that moment where I didn't really know anybody. And all of a sudden he popped up on my radar on Instagram, and I said a comment on one of his pieces, and he wrote me back, direct message, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's you. And I was like, you don't understand how obsessed I am, like your craftsmanship and all of that. And he was like, oh, well, like, let's like grab lunch or something. So I met him at his studio. We went for, you know, to the diner, and just like had an amazing, like, human to human conversation. And so, you know, come time to this, I knew I wanted to feature some of his pieces. And he was like, absolutely, come on over. And then he was like, okay, you need one piece. What else do you need? And I was like, no, I think that's good. And then I thought some more, and I was like, actually. So I got to, you know, like, highlight this person's work that I love him personally. I love his wife, and I love the work that they're doing. And then obviously Kimberly Denman, and then Mark Phillips also gave me some drop dead pieces. Absolutely drop dead. And talk about going, when I went there and they were showing me the new collections, like before I kind of was looking for my rugs, I went over there, they were showing me the new collections, and it was like every time they threw out a swatch, I was like, oh, new design. And then at the end, I was there for like an hour and a half, and at the end I was like, this has been amazing, but I gotta go, like, take a rest.
It's a little bit overwhelming.
Because I was, you know, like I said, I get so inspired by things, and I just immediately see a new, you know, space in my mind, and it's kind of fatiguing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I also, we've had Thomas Hayes on the show. I have like a funny meeting story with him, because I knew him and I knew his wife just socially. Yeah. And I also knew his work. Yeah. And so when I saw him at West Edge Design Fair, I walked around the corner. I'm like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Oh my God, wait, this is you? And it was a really funny moment. But he is so supportive of young designers, So yeah, definitely love, like, appreciate that shout out. But in your work and the projects that you've done, it's been pretty diverse. You've done some residential, but then you've also worked on hotels. So tell me a little bit about the difference between working residential versus working hospitality.
Yes. Okay. Well, so when I do residential, I also work with some homeowners, you know, on private residences, as well as developers doing either spec homes. It's not, I mean, it's not really spec, right? But it's like, yes, they're buying a property and I'm essentially like flipping it for them.
Yeah.
And then I've done multifamily, you know, up to like, I think the largest tower I did was 42 units.
Oh, wow.
In
Yeah.
New York. And then I've done, you know, others where it's multifamily, but it's like really luxury. I've also done, I did some apartments in Brooklyn that were more, you know, like what I can afford price range wise.
But that's fun too.
It is so
'cause
fun.
it's, you know, we talk about that too. It doesn't need to be always the huge, you know, the
No.
huge project. It's
Right.
like, I think that our creativity applies to
Everything.
everything.
Yeah. And I've done some office space, some retail. But the hotel is like, where my heart is.
Yeah.
Is it?
I love it
Okay.
Yeah.
so much. I mean, there is something to be said when you work with a homeowner, and especially most of the homeowners that I work with, they really, I mean, some of them kind of have design sensibilities, others don't really. And that's, you know, can be good and bad on both ends. Not bad, but, you know, it has challenges.
Yeah. Challenges. Yeah.
But so when I make a space for a homeowner that, you know, actually multiple times I've received this comment, which is just, it's so sweet, where they say, gosh, you know, what you've created for us, like, is so much better than we ever imagined. Like, it is exactly what we wanted, but like, we didn't know what we wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such a compliment. So that is so special, and that's very personal. But with the hotel space, man, they're fun. Oh my God, they're so fun because, you know, it's also like you're working with, it's commercial, right? You're working with people that have very strict guidelines on what they're going to invest, and they have specific timelines, but they don't have the emotions tied to it.
Yeah.
Right? So brands have different aspirations for what they want that end product to be, but they let me guide it and come to the table with my ideas and run with it. It's just really fun. And, you know, like, I got to work on a project which I photographed last summer, and this was so fun because it was actually for a private residence, but that client, they had such bold design aesthetic and interest. They wanted to marry mid-century modern with their historic brownstone, which had like deep, rich wood.
Yeah.
They also love jewel tones, which I love a jewel tone.
Love a jewel tone.
Bright jewel tone, muted jewel tone, bring it. And then also they wanted like an English country garden essence, and I was like, oh, that's a lot.
That
That's
is a
in
lot.
one
That's
space.
Those are really. How do you do that? Yeah.
It was a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really fun Rubik's, really fun.
Wow.
It was, yeah, it took a while to kind of like put the pieces together, but it came together, and that was a really special project. And I mean, I'm so proud of that project. But anyway, but the thing is that with hotels, you get to have more creativity. It's like not everything's white and beige, you know, which I really don't enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it well, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you commented that a project of mine that I just shot in Brooklyn, that was for a developer that he's selling, and it's a single residence. But I was like, I'm doing a mauve kitchen.
I love a mauve kitchen.
I'm doing it. And they told me that, yeah, you know, like it's not as palatable, right, to the masses. And I'm like, good.
But for the person that is looking for
Yeah.
it, they are going to be so happy to have
Yes.
happened upon their perfect mauve kitchen.
And I think that the color in the kitchen, first of all, it makes you happy.
Yeah.
The kitchen here was pink.
Yeah, I wanna
and
see
It
if you
makes
have
you
old
happy.
photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow it adds to the color of the food. Like there's something very, it's very nice. And plus people remember the pink kitchen
Yeah.
or the mauve kitchen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's something that, you know, for a developer, I think it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's like, again, it's mauve, right? It's not in your face. It's a muted tone.
Right.
And it's so pretty. Some people could read it as a little bit more feminine, right? But I feel also the stone slabs that I chose to, it's very soothing.
Yeah.
And it also, the architecture, it has a really beautiful flow and all of that. But it's funny because the developer and I had talked about, prior to me designing this project for them, he showed me a couple references, and there was one that the whatever designer that did this home used Calicut viola on the whole kitchen, which I'm like, that's bold.
That is really bold.
Talk about specific.
Yeah.
I love Calicut viola.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love a bold stone,
Yes.
but it was like boom, 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 all over, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
There was
And by the way, the rest
Yeah.
of the place was very bland as well. So
Yeah.
like, anyway.
It's just like that.
for that,
Yeah.
there was a moment where that was enormous. And I think I remember watching that incredible video of Kelly Wersler walking through that entirely Calicut viola bathroom.
Oh yeah.
That will always stick in my head.
You know, I don't know. It's better in a bathroom anyway.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. I fully agree with you. I think in a kitchen it does feel super overwhelming. But
And you know what? Also, like, okay, if I had done that kitchen and the developer let me, which he lets me do whatever I want because he knows that I sell him like amazing homes.
Yeah.
But I would have paired it with like a deep burgundy cabinet, and that would have been so sexy.
Yeah.
And hot.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it was like the only thing you could see was that. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. It was just that when we were discussing it, I was like, all right, I feel pretty good about doing
Yeah.
a off kitchen.
Yeah. That's really neat. And so when you come up with an idea like that, what was the first thing that sort of tipped you off of like, what if I did this mauve? Like what was the inciting incident in that? Yeah.
Okay. So this developer I've been working with forever, he's actually somebody that I knew through friends in New York. And he had always, kind of floated the idea of me working with him. But I was definitely a little nervous to go out on my own, prior to when I did. Because I thought, okay, well, it probably won't be enough business to keep me fully busy. But then it would be too busy to do as a side hustle while I have a full-time job because I used to work so many late nights.
Yeah.
So many late nights. Anyway, when I had finished the Nashville project, and it was COVID and everything, which hospitality just went, poof, I was like, hey, what you working on? And he was like, oh yeah, I got work for you. Let's go. So we did a project together in May of 2020. And I just had this calling to do this teal kitchen, and it was bold, but it's awesome. He and his partner loved it so much. That house sold really quickly. Of course, yes, during COVID, homes were flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
But it was in New York. Anyway, so he loved it so much that we signed 6 new projects in November of that year.
Wow.
And the thing is that I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to, I need variety. I can't keep doing the same stuff. I just can't. It's just, ugh. So every time I was thinking, okay, how do I want to make this project a little unique? And every project I come up with or that I do, I really develop a story to it, it's in this case with a developer. Yeah, even with a hotel, I'm making the story, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a homeowner, I'm telling their story.
Yeah.
Right? But I just come up with like what color palette do I want and I find inspiration and oftentimes I feel like I end up with those projects starting with the kitchen.
Yeah.
And everything kind of builds around it. And it's very important to me that the experience through any space is cohesive. I am not on board with like one style here, one style here, one style here.
Yeah,
It's just, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And we can have different flavors throughout, but there needs to be a through line, a thread.
Absolutely.
So I did a teal kitchen. Then the next one I did a little bit more subdued. I did a beige
Yeah.
kitchen, or maybe that one was kind of white. The next one was beige. So it was teal, white, beige, and then I was like navy. The navy's so pretty.
Wow.
I found a beautiful reference. There incorporated some Schumacher wallpaper, and I just was like, I love this navy, and I really kind of got into like the old school English style sculleries,
Yeah.
and obviously like working on the SoHo House, the English aesthetic has definitely infiltrated my leanings. And that kitchen turned out so beautifully. And then eventually I was like, I gotta do mauve.
Yeah.
Especially in New York. If people want to get crazy with a color, they do blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I love blue. But, and then if it's not blue, it's like, ooh, how about a little green, a little teal? So, yeah, it's, to be able to go and do these more unique choices, especially purple. Like, I think purple is about to have its moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of already coming out, but I've been thinking about this for a while.
There was one kitchen that just struck my heart and made me feel like I need to have a mulberry kitchen. You know which one I'm talking about?
No, because I'm thinking of one in my head right now.
2 years ago, Jane Hallworth in Kirsten Dunst's home.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
That kitchen that was
project.
the first. This is when I was like probably within the first 6 months that I started working with a designer when I'm like brand new to this industry.
Right.
And I saw that kitchen, I saw that house, and I'm like, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to do that
because
it was so unique, and it was such an idea that I'm like, I don't know how she came up with that, but it was executed so beautifully.
Yeah.
And it's something I would never have considered. And so since then, like, it sort of like blew open possibilities for me. And that's kind of why I ask you, like, where you find those little bits of inspiration. Oh. And sometimes it is just like, I haven't seen that and I want to make it exist.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know what I think, as I'm remembering, I think I really wanted to do a burgundy kitchen.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's a little for a house that's going on, immediately on the market, and I'm not designing for a specific person. I was like, they're not.
It's a little bold.
I mean, it would look so hot. Oh.
I agree.
But Laurent, remember when we went to the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel for that party?
Yes.
The Halloween party. So much fun. Oh my God. If you guys don't please resurface the pictures.
Okay.
Please.
So here's the thing.
The pictures.
No, here's the thing. I'm gonna take a quick tangent to the side for a moment. Because of that, Laurent shaved his face into just a mustache. But then we had to film in San Francisco, and he had a bare face the whole time, and it was so shocking.
Yeah.
It was
I went
so
all in.
alarming.
It was my first Halloween party. I just committed to the role, and
You
I
did.
shaved.
You really did. You committed
And I love
to the
that
bit,
so much.
and it looked great. The costume itself
You
looked great.
You nailed it.
The aftermath was jarring.
The regrowth.
It was jarring.
So this year we're choosing a costume where I don't have to shave.
Yeah. There's also masks.
Yeah, you could wear masks.
Should you choose?
Should I choose? Well, I'm going to choose not to shave, apparently.
Yeah.
So I will. But that was very funny. But we had so much fun.
So much fun. Well, I'll just tell the story really quick because this is important.
Please, yes.
And this is not about design. Then I'm going to lead it into design. But okay, so Laurent was like, I have something special planned. And actually, you know what? You did tell me what you were going to wear, but I kept it under wraps. You met me in the street, essentially, and I was like, stranger danger, right? but I can't even try and do the accent. But you did the accent. So guys, he played the Godfather.
Yes.
And it was the little thin mustache, and he had put the cotton balls in his mouth. And I think that's exactly what you said to me, because I was a few minutes late as well, like, because parking. And you were like, you show up here on my daughter's birthday. I just did a little French by accident. You didn't do French.
I can't help myself.
Oh
I
my
do a little bit of French.
Oh, I love when people commit like that. It makes me so happy, because I'm all in too.
Oh, you were all in too. Yes.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Super fun. Anyway, but we went up to the penthouse. And the detailing of that, I love that hotel. Oh my gosh. Sidebar, they have a little tiny bowling alley, which can we please go?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, the spare room.
Spare room?
It's
I've
so
never
fun.
been.
Oh,
please,
it's so fun.
Please, let's go. I haven't been either, but it's like, anyway, love that hotel.
It's great. Their mocktails,
the
amazing.
Pool, everything's good there. So I was, I get so excited when I see things, and I was like, the bathroom, da, 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 da. And then remember that little tiny kitchen? It almost reminded me of your kitchen, but it was smaller and narrower, and it was like this bold red, but it wasn't like scary red. It was kind of like a sexy, not too dark red.
It was very sexy.
Oh, anyway, so that's my.
That will be the next one.
Yeah.
You're making me talking about that. I'm like, should I repaint the kitchen? But I'm like, no.
Should you?
Should I? Maybe.
Should you?
That could be fun.
I want to come over and help.
Okay.
I also
Or
want
at least
to
like
help,
come over
please.
and look at pants swatches with you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I want to help. Oh, that would be so fun.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll think about it.
Anyway. Yeah. We'll talk later.
We'll talk later. So really quick, I know that we also have to get to lunch. It's very important.
Yes.
But I want to ask you one more thing before I get to our last 3 questions.
Okay, yeah.
You've worked with SoHo House for a while.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I did their Nashville property.
Yeah, they're Nashville. And then are you a member of SoHo House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So-
we should also go to.
Yeah,
by the
we
way.
should also spend more time there. But tell me about what it was like getting that project
Yeah.
and also like what your relationship with SoHo House is now, like as a member, like how that's helping you or how you feel like, what that community is like.
Yeah. It's funny because, there are 3 houses in New York. And I went to the meatpacking, which was the, first one in the US. Went to the meatpacking quite a bit in my earlier days in New York. I actually remember having the most wonderful Sunday because they do the feast. Have you heard of this?
No,
No.
I haven't.
Okay, this is very fun. It's almost like a Laurent dinner. Almost.
Almost.
Yeah, but it's like unlimited food. You just, you pay one price and you just sit down and you stay and you kind of, you don't keep eating like a glutton, but I went with a friend in the wintertime and I remember we were all bundled up in our furs and everything, vintage furs. And it was, it's cold outside. And that's one of my favorite things in New York. Even when it's cold, you just go and you kind of just hunker down and you stay and you and we were there for hours and we met all these people and we talked and we took a class there. We went to the spa, which sadly they got rid of the spa, which is a big mistake. I don't know why they did that.
Oh no.
Love the spa.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. The fireplace there. I love the meatpacking house. It is just rich. It just feels really good, and it has history. And anyway, I had gone many times, and but I never considered working with them or anything, but I was ready to move on from the architecture firm where I was for a few years. And actually an old colleague of mine had gone to an alumni event and they were chit-chatting. And so there was a girl that was working at SoHo and she was like, yeah, we're looking for someone to come in and do this project. And so we connected. I met with the person that was the head of design at the time, and I got the offer to come in very shortly after.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually, okay, I have to tell the story because it's so fun. It's so insane. It's so insane. So I had gone in. It was all great. I was excited about it. They kind of it took a while to put it all together, the deal and everything. But so I was out in Tahoe snowboarding with my family. And I knew that I had this call, and it was, I think it must have been 10 a.m. New York time, so it was 8 a.m. or something like that. And my family was getting ready to go out on the slopes for the day, and we were staying in an Airbnb, and it was all very boisterous inside. And I was like, okay, guys, I'm going to take this call from the hot tub outside.
That's how you got your job in the hot tub?
Oh, I love it.
I made sure the bubbles were off. Not that many people know the story. Now everyone's gonna know the story, but it's so absurd. And the funniest thing that when they got on the phone, it was it was wintertime, so in New York it was freaking cold.
Yeah.
And they knew I was on vacation, and I didn't tell them where or anything, but they were like, "Well, I hope wherever you are, it's warm." And I was like, "It is."
It's the best way, completely relaxed for your
Oh,
interview.
Oh my gosh.
I am
I
doing
love
just
it.
fine.
It was so funny. Anyway, so that project was once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I came in, I hired my whole team to execute. I mean, it's a huge project. It's currently to date their largest project in North America.
Oh, wow.
97,000 interior square feet. And I forget now how many rooms they ended up building, or building out, but it was at the time it was going to be 40 hotel rooms plus multiple food and beverage, the pool, the garden, a 50-seat cinema, the gym. It was a solid year of work, and it was just amazing. It was so special. The team, my team, and then working with the architects, and it was incredible. And I would have loved to continue working with them, but just at the time with COVID,
Right.
my work was basically done. So that was that.
Yeah.
So I joined out here. I didn't join immediately, but I was really you know, wanting to have more community,
Yeah.
right? So I joined, and I've met some really amazing people. I'm actually really, really good friends with the sommelier at the West Hollywood location, not just because I like wine, but she's just an awesome, awesome girl. Love her so much.
Yeah.
Would love to introduce you guys. Would love for her to come here, actually,
Yeah.
as well. But anyway, and it's just it's so nice to have somewhere to go. Like when I was in New York, I went to the Dumbo House, and I went to meatpacking. I did a class at meatpacking. Went up to the pool, had a lovely breakfast. Could see the Hudson River, and then I took my sister and a couple friends for the feast on Sunday.
Wow.
At the Dumbo House.
Yeah.
And it was just like we actually all felt like we were on vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
It was amazing. Like
Yeah.
we felt like at like an all-inclusive kind of resort. And then when I travel overseas, or being in Austin or in, Nashville, like it's nice to have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Like when I went for Deco Off 2 years ago, the Paris house is kind of new. I have friends in Paris and everything, but it kind of feels like a home away from home.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And that's really, really nice.
Yeah.
And you meet amazing people there. So, so I love it.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
worked in Nashville. I really need to get there.
Let's go.
I know. Let's go to Nashville.
Let's go.
Come on.
It'd be so fun.
I think
It's
our
such a great
last
town.
couple of guests have been talking about Nashville.
Yeah, no, but it's just an amazing.
It is.
This place that I never paid attention to it, and then I don't know, a year and a half ago,
It's been like a quiet creeper up.
Right, it started, and I met a couple people from Nashville, and
Yeah.
then Jen's best friend lives in Nashville, and since then it's just like Nashville keeps on.
Yeah.
It keeps popping up.
Keeps popping up. So
Well, and
it
especially
must have been
here,
fun.
like people, as we know, people are kind of leaving LA
Yeah.
and shooting other places, and there's a lot of production happening there.
Yeah.
Actually, a good friend of mine, her and her partner are moving there. And and there's also like a lot of makers. Really, it's a very special place. Again,
Wow. Yeah.
it's the South. It's like it's. I wouldn't say it's under the radar, right? But it's been kind of like
Right.
coming up. Like when I was working on the project there, speaking with the developer who was, funding the project, she said that 300 people per day were moving there, and that was pre-COVID.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I have a lot of friends who moved down there.
So I
from
have
all over.
and the
when
food
I,
scene's
when
really
I
good.
first came to this country, which was a little while ago, I was 15 years old. France, our teachers were British trained, so the story was that Americans had the worst accent.
Oh,
Naturally.
I land in South Carolina.
oh, South
and
Carolina. Oh gosh, they have such great accents.
The friend, there's a family visiting them and he's from Tennessee. And he starts talking, and I can't understand a fucking
That's
word.
so funny because I'm sure he thought the same with you too.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm sure he played it, and I looked at him, and everybody stayed quiet at the table, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. I mean, I can't understand.
You're like, can I get closed captions?
I know. I'm like, I need to eat, and I just can't
outta
communicate with that.
You're like,
and,
Oh, that's so funny.
But then the other part of the story is that he grabs a jalapeno and eats the thing, and I'm like, I've never seen a jalapeno in my life. I'm from France. I mean, tomatoes,
you ate
cucumber,
it.
fennel.
Oh my
so I
gosh.
took a bite of it.
Oh, no.
And then the fact that I was jet lagged, I was 15 years old. I was talking to someone I could not communicate with, and my inside were burning. I'm like, this is going to be the longest trip ever if I
dear.
ever make it out
Oh,
of
wow.
this state. That was my first 15 minutes in the United
Oh
States
my
of
gosh.
America.
That's amazing.
That's a good.
That's-
a warm welcome.
that's a-
It's a warm welcome. And
It's
then,
a warm welcome. That's an incredible like Americana story.
Yeah.
yeah, no, the first 20 minutes of like, I'm not going to make it. And then everybody laughed, and then I fell in love with this country, and I'm still in touch with
with
That
your
was
friend
all.
from Tennessee.
Oh my god.
I like it.
So
but
good.
it was really fun. So yeah, I have a fun memory. I mean, I have a connection to Tennessee that I'm like, I gotta
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
my
that's
gosh.
great. I love it.
Wait,
Okay.
wait, before
Yeah,
we end,
yeah.
I want to tell you, so I love, as part of the reason I loved White Lotus so much this season, because like, I feel like nobody ever thinks about North Carolina, which is fine, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, and we got Duke and UNC, and it's great. But the accents are just so spectacular. When I was in school at Georgia, I interned at this office interiors company, which was, it was just great to get some real life experience working. So I grew up in North Carolina, right? And like where I grew up, it's a bunch of Yankees that moved down. Like my parents are from Michigan and Ohio. Right. So like I don't have an accent unless I kind of lean into it. You know, like North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia. Anyway, but when I went to Georgia, I was like, whoa, oh my goodness. Yeah. And so many different types of accents. Yeah. Anyway, in addition to interior design for office spaces, they also sold office products like chairs and paper and all sorts of weird things. So I was answering the phone and I got the most epic call of my life, basically. Get a call and I say, hello, Fowler Office Interiors or something. And the woman's like, hello, I'm looking for a number for Mr. Cash. And I was like, yes, tell me, who is this Mr. Cash? And so I was like, oh, sorry, there's no Mr. Cash here. And she was like, well, I was going to call my best friend Rose for the number, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. And she's like, well, I have this typewriter and it's been broken for years and I need it replaced. And I just, I would drive it to Atlanta, but the thing weighs a ton, not to mention it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to get it fixed. And I was just like hanging on every word because this, like, you just don't hear these accents anymore. That's so incredible. They're so special. And I just, and I felt bad for this lady too, because the woman who was like the receptionist of the, she was kind of listening in on my conversation and she was like, tell her not to go there. He's such a ripoff, whatever. Like, he was like trying to scam these old people.
No.
And anyway, but I was like, I'm so sorry we don't do typewriter replacements here. Not sure how many people do.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Parker Posey. Thank you for shining a light on these beautiful accents that are kind of dying, which is so sad.
Oh my gosh.
Are they really?
Yeah, it's so unfortunate.
Yeah, my great aunt lives just outside of Atlanta, and she is such a beautiful woman. Like just she's just a proper lady, and she's loves engaging speaker and all this, and she just has the most unique accent that's not really deep South or anything, but it's just very sophisticated, and I love it. It's has such a special place.
People who have accents.
So weird.
Okay. Well, I know that you're excited for this part because you've already told me that you've prepared. I did send you the questions.
Yeah.
So there are 3 questions that we ask all of our guests.
Yes.
So the first one, what is the messiest place in your home?
Okay. Yes, I did.
She cleaned up everything.
No, I wish.
That's why she's like, I'm going to clean up everything. I'm going to say nothing.
I wish. Right now, it's messier than I would like it to be. Because I like to keep things tidy. But no, I would actually say that my closets are decently organized, but there's also like a little bit of chaos in there. Not to mention, I really need to get a space and have it well organized for all of my samples.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I've got this one enormous closet that has like, wall to wall with all my coats and whatever. And it's funny because my landlord was like, you don't need coats, you live in LA. And I was like, you don't understand.
Those are special.
It's not only that they're special, but I was like, first of all, I'm a woman. I like outfits.
Yeah.
Number 2, I travel a lot and I need coats. And also, it's freaking cold here.
It does get cold here.
It's like stupid cold.
People
People make fun of me and I'm like, guys, it's like to the bone cold.
Listen, I am from the Midwest.
Yeah.
I felt negative 40 degrees.
Yes.
Okay? That's awful. But I will say that 40 degrees in Los Angeles is 100 times colder.
It gets to your core. It gets to the bones.
Yeah, it feels weird. Wrong. Yes, I agree with you.
Okay.
Laurent's giving me this face of disapproval.
Like, this is just let's move on to question number 2. I don't want to get into.
Stop it. You have more shoes than I have. So
I'm also 25 years older than you are.
That's not true. But
that sounds like an excuse. Anyway. So yeah, my closets are not as organized as I would like them to be, but it's a project.
Okay. Second question. When you first walk into a new space, what is the first thing that you notice?
Okay. So you're going to hate me for this because my answer is everything.
Okay.
It hits me all.
Okay.
So like, as we already discussed, I'm inspired by everything. Colors, shapes, textures, shadows. So it's definitely, I think probably the visual things are the first things. And then I think I pay attention a lot to sounds as well. Like I love hiking, and I just have gone on a couple of hikes around LA recently, and some homes have these beautiful wind chimes. And I just love being in nature anyway, but just these sounds of so serene, or waterfall trickling or something like that, or like I'll hear street sounds.
Yeah.
And then also definitely smells. Like it's kind of the whole sensory thing, but right, like visuals are first, but it's not one thing in particular.
Okay.
Everything kind of just immediately, it's like all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd kind of like get a general look at everything first, and then you're like detail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Sometimes I kind of have to turn it off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I like that answer. Okay, our last question is, what is your favorite space, either that you've designed or that is in your own home? Okay, this one I didn't really prepare because that's a toughie. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to have to say that home that I was telling you about that I shot last summer in Brooklyn. The client really wanted a beautiful burgundy room. She's a sommelier. And I was like, yes. Yeah.
Let's go. And I just, oh my gosh, I want to use this phrase, which is probably so inappropriate. I murdered it out. Like, and I don't mean murder in like that way, because it's red. But like, I went all in on burgundy with like a beautiful custom lime plaster walls and ceiling. And it was just, everything was monochromatic. It is a show-stopping room, if I do say so myself. And I'm just so proud of it. And I so appreciate that the client was here for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because sometimes they're like, maybe let's pull it back.
Yeah.
They were on board, which was
wanted
so
to go
awesome.
for it. I love that.
That was really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Alexandra, I love having you like on the show. We've been talking about this for a while, but like if ever Laurent can't host, you're going to host with me because you're fantastic. And I just adore you so much.
Same.
You are so incredibly talented. Is there anything that you want to announce that you have coming up? Are you like any press or anything like that you want to plug real quick?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, I shot my apartment here.
Yeah.
My beautiful, charming 1920s place, and that was really special. And I'm in the works of getting the photos finished with editing with my photographer, but I'm really excited. It's a really special place. It's always going to be my first LA place.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys know a little bit the story of like how it came together, which I'm really excited to share. And I'm working with my publicist, Jen Whitmer, to get it placed, so that it gets the spotlight that it deserves.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And I have a story with that, is that I saw you drive a van
Oh,
to come pick up.
Didn't you take a picture?
I took a
Yes,
picture. I
there's
have
a
to
picture.
find it.
We might post
and that
it.
I was like, I loved it. I was like, that's the designer who just goes for it.
Oh yeah. I'm no stranger to the U-Haul. But it was a little stressful pulling up here.
Yeah.
Because
But you did
can't see.
really well.
Thank you.
I was very impressed.
Laurent was so nice. I was stressed. I was stressing. And I was also, because I was like late.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted to be, but it took forever to get the freaking U-Haul.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, I just did. And then in the traffic in the
always
morning.
does.
And I was like, I'm so sorry, a little bit a little later. And you opened the door with a big smile on your face. You took the picture of me and you're like, it's all good. You give me a hug.
It's so fun.
Come on up. Oh my gosh.
It's so fun.
Thank you so much again.
I've done the van and the truck, so I could
relate.
I could relate, and you were very cute.
It's intense, Man, they'll get doing. I love photographing. The work that I do. It is so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much work.
It's a lot of work.
It's so much work, but it's so worth it. But it's like
it pays off.
I'm
for
wiped
sure.
every time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like my New York ones, my back-to-back that I just did.
Yeah,
I had 2 1.5-hour massages after. You don't understand. It's not even not even about like it's not even like, oh, treat yourself. Like my body was wrecked.
Yeah.
My knees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank
on.
you. We
Oh,
love
it's
having
so
you
fun.
on.
Love you
Thank you so
both.
much. Okay, we have to go eat lunch.
Yes, please.
We do.
My tummy's ready.